Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Stephanie Stevens Show. Thank you guys so much for supporting us here at Pronoun TV and my show. I am so blessed that so many of you are taking interest in our fabulous stories and conversations. You guys are a blessing in disguise. At first, I didn't think that this would work, but for some reason, it seems to have caught some attention from some big wigs. So we're going to see if we can really finally have a voice for the LGBT Two-Spirit community on network television. We're going to see. But until then, we're going to continue the conversation. Today on my show, I have Mr. Rodney Beck from Nova Scotia, and he's going to talk about his journey transitioning. He feels that was born in the wrong body. I hope I'm saying that right. But if not, he will explain to us why he feels that he was born to be female, or he feels that he's female. So we're going to talk to him today about his journey transitioning to becoming the person that he wants to become. So like I said, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. So today on our show, we have Mr. Rodney Beck from Nova Scotia. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing good, girl. How's Toronto?
Oh, child, it's cold. It's cold, but it's bright today. Today is a bright day. It's been very gloomy, and I've been in the house for the last 4 or 5 days consistently, so I'm about to go mad. But
I'm stir crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic thing is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. It's giving me more time to focus on work and to reach out and to actually have conversations with lots of different people from around the world that I probably wouldn't have had that chance if we weren't in the pandemic.
Right, yeah.
So what's happening in Nova Scotia? What's happening there?
Not a whole lot. It's not snowing as of yet. I was out earlier today. It's pretty warm. It's not really that cold out yet. We do get a lot of times cold winters, but right now across my fingers, it's where the snow is holding off. So.
So what do you do? What are you doing for Christmas? I know we can't do a lot of gathering and all that stuff. So what are your plans? What do you plan on doing?
Well, for myself, I work in the healthcare field. In Nova Scotia, we call it continuing care assistants. I think in Ontario and everywhere else, it's a nurse's aide, basically. So I have to work Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So I'll be working on Christmas Eve for 12 hours. And then on Christmas Day, I only work 8 just to give us a little break to get home earlier to our family and that. So, but I have to work both those days. It's my first year with the company. So usually, the newer people, have to work till Christmas, but that's fine. Like I don't have a family myself. I'm not married. I'm not dating anybody. I don't have any kids. So it's not really that big of a deal. Plus it's, more money, time and a half. So why not?
Well, it's a good thing that we even have that, right? We even have jobs. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. And I'm just lucky that years ago, people used to say, you talk too much. But now my agent says, they pay you to talk now. So I guess it was a good thing that I can talk. Today, I want you to talk to our viewers. I want to talk about your life that you've now decided that you felt that or feel that you're in the wrong body, and you feel that you were born female, or you feel that you want to become female, or can you explain it to us? What is it that you are looking for in this transition process?
Well, for myself, I've had to do a lot of digging and soul searching because for myself, I know I have a problem comparing myself to others and comparing myself to other people's journeys. And what I mean by that is that I'm starting out my process transitioning. I'm still in boy mode. My hair, I used to get my hair, I know hair does not make a man or a woman, but my hair's growing out. It used to be shorter. So I would have a problem comparing myself to other trans women. I would look and I would say, well, she has long hair, she's skinny, she has breasts, she now has a vagina, all the things that I want. And I would always stress myself out and give myself anxiety because I'm not at the space where I want to be. And I had to come to the realization recently that every trans person, whether trans male, trans female, gender fluid, non-binary, each trans individual's experience is individual to them, and it doesn't make me any less than a trans person because I'm not living as a woman. And I had to come to the realization that, because I was always saying, well, I was always giving myself so much anxiety that I was always thinking 20 years ahead where how I want to look, but I would not focus on that. Took time to get that individual there. That just didn't happen with the snap of a finger and overnight. So I would always think of myself, well, I'm less trans than them. But in fact, recently I said, no, I'm not any less trans than them, because their experience is their own individual experience and mine is just starting. So, you know, a transition is a process, and I'm early in the process, and not every trans person feels comfortable dressing in the clothes that they would like to. I myself live in a very small conservative town, and that would not really go over well right away with me. So I'm taking my time. I'm gathering things that I need, like makeup, wigs, clothing. And when I get to the point when I want to start doing more, like maybe wearing a little bit of makeup to work, maybe, you know, a little bit of mascara, stuff like that. And so it got me a lot. Until recently, I wasn't able to until recently to get to the point where I'm like, just because I'm living in boy mode, and I keep doing this, but just because I'm living in boy mode does not make me any less than a trans individual. Because I see so many people who have already transitioned and who are already living in their self-identified gender. But I never see too many people, I never see too many interviews where people are just starting out. So that's why I'm so thankful for this interview, because you're giving a space, a voice, and an opportunity for me as someone who is coming out newly to really live my truth.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, first timers is always the hardest. It's always hard because a lot of the time the support system is not there for young people, or even people that are up to 35, 40 years old, because they figure you're just going through a phase, or it's just something that you're feeling for the moment. Tomorrow you'll be over it. And for me, I have learned that how you're treated when you're younger as a person who feels that they're different and in the wrong body is really something that needs to be paid close attention to by the parents and by the doctors, and understood at an early age that Rodney might not be in the right body. Most people don't want to accept this as parents or as doctors, because they figure you're young and you're just going through a phase. He'll be over it next week. He'll be sleeping with women. He'll be having babies. He'll be doing all these different things. He'll become a great father, you know, these kind of things. And they miss the little things. For me, this is what I always say. The details are the key. My mother was very key with us. She used to touch us a lot. She was very personal with us. So she understood, and I understood, that she paid attention to the details with us. Mm-hmm. This is how she had such a great connection to understand us more. Now, I just want to say, now, where are you actually born?
Sorry, say it again?
Where are you actually from?
I'm from the town is Pictou, Nova Scotia, here on the East Coast. This is where I was born. This is where I'm currently at now. I was living in Halifax, which was a bigger city, more opportunities, more support networks, therapies, support groups. But now I'm living back in my hometown because of work. So the supports, the mental health supports, the hormone readiness letters, the hormone doctors, family doctors, all of that is very much lacking in Nova Scotia as a whole, but specific a lot in Pictou County where I'm at. And I actually belong to an organization called Pictou County Rainbow Community that I just joined, and I was put in touch with a therapist, and I was going to think that I'd have to wait such a long time, but she actually, for people who do not have because private therapy is very expensive, and when you don't have a lot of money, what she does is that she has a student who has agreed to provide I don't know if you want to call it gender therapy, but therapy in order for me to get my hormone readiness letter so that she can write and I'd be able to produce to a doctor or, an endocrinologist or somebody who is able to, legally prescribe hormones, because that is something that I do wish to do at some point in time. But I know it takes time, and with the location that I'm at, has presented definitely its challenges.
Okay. I don't want this to seem rude, what I'm going to say, but I want you to look into the camera when you're talking to me, because I'm getting a disconnect from you. So for you and me to understand each other, and for the audience to understand you, we need to see each other, talk to each other, not looking this way and that way, not to be mean or rude. I just want your story to be clear, and I want you to be heard.
Right.
So now, where are your parents?
Well, my father is here, still living in Pictou, and my mother, she passed away 2 years ago. I grew up with my father, myself, my sister, and myself. We went to go live with him when we were very young, and my mother was in and out, not in and out a lot. So she didn't raise us. My father basically raised us.
Okay. Is your father strict? Does he understand you? Even as Rodney, does he understand you? Does he talk to you? Does he hang out with you? Does he play sports with you? Is he involved in your life? And mainly when you were younger, is he involved in your life?
Oh yeah, he actually comes up every single day. And we talk on the phone probably 2 or 3 times a day. Growing up, I was in baseball. He would come to games, and so he's very much involved in my life. He's very. I don't really talk to him a lot about gay things or transitioning, because he grew up Catholic, and although he's not a strict Catholic, he's Catholic nonetheless, and he would rather me be straight and be married and have kids, but unfortunately that's just not the way the cards were dealt.
Okay. Now, so you're do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have 2 half brothers and 1 full sister, so we share a mother and father. My older brother, he lives in the county that I'm living in. My other brother, he passed away in 92. So I'm not really close with any of my siblings. I don't really have too much of a relationship with them. I talk to them off and on Facebook, but as far as like in-person things and like going out for dinner and things, no.
Okay. Now, the reason I'm asking you all this is because I want to connect the family to your story. And I want to understand, because, when I'm talking to people that are transitioning, and mainly young people, I want them to understand what I went through and what lots of other ladies that I have spoken to or had conversations with about. And a lot of us have the same familiar stories, but just from a different point of view. Now, when you were, how long, when did you know you were different?
I knew probably when I was probably around 10 or 11 when I would start trying on my sister's dresses. When everybody was gone, I would try on her dresses. I would try on her lipstick. I would try on maybe some blush. And to me, it wasn't necessarily me doing something funny or fun. It was me, it just seemed a little almost normal, although I knew it wasn't society's idea of normal. It was perfectly normal feeling for me. It wasn't weird for me to put on a dress. It felt perfectly normal. And I started questioning things around that time, around that age. And living with my sister, she, had all the female things and all female clothing and everything. So I would just dabble in that when everybody was gone.
Mm-hmm. Now, this next question I'm going to ask is sort of a personal question. Now, do you actually feel like you're in the wrong body?
Oh, absolutely. 100. I know with 100% certainty that I should have been born physically a female. Now, some people may get offended by maybe me saying that because they may not think that a female, not just a female, has a vagina. There are females who have penises. Mm-hmm. And for me, the idea of a woman that I want to become is a woman with a vagina. And I'm doing my research. I'm going through the necessary things. I know in Canada, we have something called the standards of care that therapists and doctors have to follow, and I have to follow in order to get my end result.
Mm-hmm. So do you feel like you're going, is things happening the way you want them to happen? Are you, I mean, when you're reaching out for the support, are you sort of seeing some sort of connection?
I have some supports through friends here in town. I have some, newly supports with the organization I just joined. I think it's tomorrow or the next day is when my first therapy session. So slowly but surely, like I'm very much a person who wants things done right like that. Mm-hmm. But I know that there is a process to do things, and it's not necessarily put in place to hurt me. But, if my end result is I want gender reassignment surgery, they want to make sure that this is who I am and how I feel, because once you do that surgery, there's no really going back.
Mm-hmm. Rodney, for years, I've been around trans women all my life. All my life, I've been around trans women. So I know how they are and how they think. And most of them, whether they're doing drag or they're just being who they are as themselves, living as women or working as women or just being part of society as women, most women in general want a quick fix. This is why they do the surgeries and they do this stuff. And I'm glad the doctors today, back in the day, they didn't care so much about, the girls getting all the silicone and all this stuff, because most of the girls suffered behind closed doors. And they did all these illegal operations and they went through these extreme measures to become women overnight. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't happen like that. So the fact that they're taking you through the steps is a good thing, and mainly today. So I like that fact, and the fact that you're a young person and you understand that you must go through the slow changes and step by step to become the woman that you want to be.
Right.
Now, becoming a woman is not a light-hearted thing. This is a serious thing that will affect your life until the day you die. So you have to understand that the decision that you're making is this decision that you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the fact that you could be affecting others out there about your story and about how you feel inside. Now, have you ever got mistaken as a woman?
On the phone, sometimes what I do is I don't think I have a very deep deep voice. I also don't have the really hard masculine features either, like as for what I'm told. So sometimes when I'm on the phone, I get mistaken for a girl, but out in public, 99% of the people say sir or he or male, and that doesn't necessarily hurt my feelings because they don't know my story. So of course they're going to say he because they don't know, they haven't had the opportunity to ask. So how else would they know to call me either she or her?
Well, most of the time, being a female is something that's very visual, whether breast or the makeup or nails, hands, gestures, curves, those kind of things that they identify with women or trans women that are, becoming themselves. Now, what I like the most about you is the fact that you work and you understand that you are around doctors and nurses, people that can actually help you become the woman that you want to be. And the fact that you are actually talking to a doctor or a therapist, this is a great thing. So and mainly in a small town. So for those out there in small towns, I think the idea of talking to a therapist first and understanding your options, and that therapist understanding you as an individual and understanding the decision that you are about to make will impact your life for a lifetime. I understood that. But back then in the day, I didn't have the support that we have now. And, I look at it this way, Rodney. The fact that you are taking steps, and mainly in a small town, to become the person you want to be is very courageous. And it will really set an example for other trans women or transgendered people that feel the same way you do. And hopefully our show will educate them and let them know that sometimes your neighbor could be transgendered or this way or that way. But we also have to remember, not everybody's going to support us. That's just not the way life is.
Right.
You're gonna have to become very strong in the next few months, and then through your transition, you're gonna have to become stronger.
Right.
In so many ways, and even from your own transgender community. So you're gonna be looking at a lot of roadblocks, but I think that you can do what you need to do to be the person that you want to be. I'm really glad. I want to just ask you something. How do you identify right now? How do you identify, and then how do you feel about that identity?
Well, I identify as she because that's who the person that I am and becoming, and because, like I said, transition is a process. And right now, this year I turned 40, and I am to the point where I don't want to be 70 years old or older going through the process, because I don't want to say my shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I'm in a position now where, even though I'm in a small town, I'm 40 years old, I need to start living my life for me, and the supports that are out there, even though few, grab onto those supports so I can reach the position where I eventually want to be.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you something now that I think is really prevalent or relative to what we're talking about. Relationships. You're a 40-year-old and you identify as she. Now, you're a 40-year-old trans person in a small town. This is when you probably should be having children or in a lasting relationship, have a house, have that stability of sort of family, whether you're in a relationship or a committed civil union of somehow. Now, the transition process that you're thinking about going through is going to take years.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to happen with you and the life that you should probably be seeking with either another person or, or a civil union, or how are you going to do that? And that if you are seeking a relationship, because somewhere along the line in a small town, companionship is very important.
Mm-hmm. Well, for myself, I would absolutely right now love to have a relationship. However, I also know that starting my transition and, currently living boy mode, but eventually, living as a girl and having gender reassignment surgery, that individual right now is probably going to be a gay male that is going to maybe want to date me, but he's going to have to soon realize that even though I may look like a boy and live like a boy, that is very much going to change. So, in order to get into a relationship, to my knowledge, a gay man wants to date another man. And even though I have male parts, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
one day I won't. So does that mean that that relationship is no longer going to be valid or important? Because I can't expect him to say, and there are maybe some people who will stay in a relationship. I've heard that that's can happen, and it does happen. But how often does that happen when, I guess, when, a partner transitioned and then all of a sudden he is now she, and your partner, I can't expect my gay boyfriend to all of a sudden now be into women, because that's also not fair to them to put that expectation on them just because I want to have a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Now, a quick question: do you ever? Now, this is more of a personal one, and I'm going to try to word it the right way so it doesn't seem sleazy or hoary or promiscuous. Have you ever dressed up for a man and had him over just to see what you would feel like? Because sometimes the transition process is very important on how you interact with men. And that sometimes can be a very good help with you when you are transitioning.
Well,
Not
I've
necessarily.
never,
Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
haven't, oh, sorry, I haven't, I have never dressed up for a man. However, um, I have had men on Grindr who are probably closeted gay people that are married to women who are into, uh, I guess the term would be maybe ladyboy. I'm not trying to be offensive or anything, or some people even call it a sissy. I don't call it that, but they do. And a lot of the requests that I get from those individuals is, well, when I come over, can you be in a bra and panties and some pantyhose? Maybe even some high heel shoes, because when he comes over, would also majority of the time want to have women's panties on as well. So for
Mhm.
them, it's more of a sexual thing. It's more of a fetish thing. And I usually either just block them or don't respond, because the way I look at it is like, they're just, sure, we're all sexual beings and we all like to feel good. However, I'm not going to put myself through some sort of experiment just for a closeted married man to come over. Like, I don't need sex that bad or a relationship that bad to dress up for a sexual thing, because that's not what my life is about, or I don't want it to be about that anyway.
Okay. Now, see, I like the fact that you said that, you want maybe start wearing a little makeup here and there to sort of see how people react to you or how you feel inside.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it can be very scary in a small town to put makeup on and go to the mall or just go sit and have coffee. But generally, doctors suggest this.
Mm-hmm.
You go sit around a coffee shop. Maybe you wear a little blouse or something that looks feminine. And you wear a little makeup and you sit around and you chat with your friends and see how your surroundings are. And not necessarily that they're going to be good all the time or they're going to be bad, but it'll help you integrate into society as the woman that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have learned that sometimes when you look a certain way, that is what it becomes. But then you have to be a strong woman to understand that sexuality plays a big role in the way you go out as a woman into the world and how
Mm-hmm.
people and men will definitely view you. So, with that being said, um, I'm trying to I'm trying to word it the right way because I want the people out there to understand that when you're growing up and you're young and you have these sexual desires or these feelings that you're not in the right body or you're attracted to a different kind of person, that you need to take the steps very carefully to become the person you are so you don't have these regrets and you don't end up in a disastrous situation down the road. Now, I like the fact that you've been very clear on what you want. I like the fact that you know the direction you want to go in. And I like the fact that you keep talking about the final part of the surgery. You keep mentioning that. So that means that in my mind, I'm thinking that you are convinced that you were born in the wrong body, in a sense, because that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You want to feel like a woman, and the final surgery of having everything removed is key for you because in that way you will feel like you're in the right body. And it happens to a lot of the girls. I know a lot of girls that have had sex changes, and I've been over there to look at their changes. And for me, I have a wide spectrum of thoughts about changing your gender, as far as the anatomy, not
Mm-hmm.
as far as your physical, but the anatomy. And I think that we have to be very careful when we do these kind of things because most trans women who have corrective surgery commit suicide. Did you know that?
I know that some individuals have done that. I don't know necessarily the numbers, but I know
It's very high. It's very high.
Hmm.
But go ahead. I'm just saying because the reason I'm mentioning that to you is because a lot of the trans women that I know that just generally they get the breast and they keep their sexual part below because they've
Mm-hmm.
understood that down the road they've been eventually now they're starting to go to doctors because they realize so many of the girls died from all the silicone injections and going to these quick doctors trying to become a woman overnight. And they're learning now to go to regular doctors, but the regular
Mm-hmm.
doctors are finally telling them the suicide rate for trans women is very high. And not that I'm discouraging you, I just want you to understand that I support you totally in the fact that you want to be the woman that you want to be. And I'm sure there's hundreds of thousands of other trans women out there that will support you and be there for you. But I would say one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Try the makeup thing. Try going out socializing a little bit here and there. Try finding not necessarily a boyfriend, but somebody that you can just talk to as a male friend. That's on a up to up level, not a sexual thing, but just sort of
Mm-hmm.
to see how you interact. Because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
easy for you to interact with men as a man, but as a woman, it's very hard because generally men are a threat to women in some sense or another. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I do. Yeah.
And so you have to, that's going to be a key role as well. Um, you know, what I want to know now is, are you actively like have you talked to a doctor about hormones?
I haven't. I well. Yeah. The first thing I guess I have to do is I have to go to a therapist who is WPATH certified, and only a WPATH certified therapist can write your hormone readiness letter. And then at that point, you can go see an endocrinologist. To my knowledge, I don't know of many family physicians who write hormones, because they really probably want to refer you to a specialist, like the hormone specialist. And, you know, the rainbow community that I belong with, we're trying to, you know, send out letters to get more family doctors trained so that they feel comfortable in prescribing hormones, so trans people don't have to wait months, sometimes a year, in order to start hormones, because in that time a lot of people experience dysphoria, and some do commit suicide because they can't see the end result. They can't see that bright light at the end of the tunnel. So hopefully, like hopefully I hope and pray that more family physicians and doctors are able to take the specific course in order to feel comfortable enough to prescribe hormones, because they already do have that medical knowledge. So it's just that one step further and able to help their trans patients, because I'm sure they have trans patients, whether they know it or not.
You know, Rodney, the first thing I'm going to say to you is I commend you, number one. The key to a lot of our mental wellness and our mental health in general is the fact that it took me a long time to understand this, because I was always in committed relationships. And once I realized that my career was really more important to me than those kind of things, it hurt a lot of people that I loved. And but I understood that I had to separate the two. Now, I like the fact that you're in a stable environment as a trans person. This is really key. You're in a stable environment, you're working. That means that you're interacting with people all the time. So the idea of putting a little makeup on here and there and seeing how people interact with you, but always understanding that it will not always be positive, and understand that you're going to run into a lot of opposition because of it. But what you have to do is you have to surround yourself with making sure that everything is okay, so you stay stable, so you can continue your process. So I would suggest that maybe you talk to the human resource worker at work and just explain to them that there's nothing, you know, your job is the same way it is, but so you don't run into that wall down the road. So they understand that you're maybe the person that's in charge of the nurses is not going and saying, well, he's doing this and he's doing that, because sometimes people don't understand us.
Right.
And sort of put our lives in jeopardy in a sense without us even knowing, because they don't understand us. So the fact that you're stable, I take my wig off to you for that, because that's amazing. That's the first steps to becoming the woman that you want to be. And now you have a job, you have a place to live, you have an understanding of what you want, and you're taking the first steps to becoming the woman that you want to be. And, you know, I'm here to support you, girl. I'm here to support you because I know you can do it. And I can see the true sincerity and the passion in you that this has to happen. But I like the fact that I know how we can be. We want things tomorrow. We want tits tomorrow. We want all the work. We want everything done tomorrow. It doesn't happen like that.
No.
Everything is a process. And the good thing, like I said earlier, is it's great that doctors are at least trying to listen to us, at least trying to help us step by step so we don't make the mistakes down the road. Because sometimes once you make that final decision about your sex change surgery, it's final. And then
no turning back.
And then you have to understand that with all of that comes a responsibility to the end of your life. I've seen many of my children, I call them my children, that have had sex changes, and two of my daughters that are very beautiful are dead now because they had it all. And soon as they got the sex change, they, I don't know what happened, but they went through something that was totally opposite. I don't think they were prepared for.
And that's the thing. You have to be prepared and truly okay with yourself if you decide to do that surgery, because not all trans people get bottom surgery, and that's okay because that's their choice and that's their journey. And it doesn't make them any less of a trans man or a woman or a man. For me, I know with 100% utmost certainty that that is what I want. And as long as I know that and prepare myself and surround myself with the supports, then I think that I'm a little bit ahead of the game.
Perfect. Now, another thing I just want to talk about is what happens afterwards once you've had the surgery and you decide that you want a committed relationship. We have to understand that a lot of the times men in general see women as just sex objects. And the fact that maybe they will know you were a sex change, or you tell them that you were a sex change, or that they figured it out, or you're living with them under that rule. But most men that have a relationship with trans women are generally interested in their male anatomy. And not so much they want you to look like a female, but they want you to have the male anatomy. And that's going to be challenging for you down the road if you decide that you want a committed relationship, or you want a boyfriend, or you just want a companion. You know, these are things that you're going to be facing. But like I said, I like the fact that you are reaching out, and the fact that you're telling your story. And I know I can sense that this is something that's very important to you. And it's amazing that you are true to the woman that you want to be and understand the direction that you have to go, but you also understand the challenges. Living in a small town with a very small support system.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is just my suggestion. It's different when I found that if you do entertaining, or if you just dress up, you do something that makes you feel like a woman. Surround yourself with pretty things. You do your nails, you do your makeup, you do your hair, things, you wear little dresses, or you wear little nighting things, little at a time. And then this way it will soften you in the sense of your mind will not, the clothes or something will trick your mind, but it will make you feel like becoming a woman if this is the way you feel. And I think that maybe, drag could help. Even if you just went and did a number and stood around and tried to perform, dressed up. These little steps to these things help you become the woman that you are. Not necessarily that you need to take drag on as a career, but it'll give you an outlet how to socialize with people done up, dressed up. And you get a wide spectrum of people. That could be an avenue for you. Or even if you just went to the club and hung out as a woman.
Yeah, well, I actually used to do drag. I first started doing it in 2002, off and on up to 2010, and I haven't done it since. I haven't done it since 2010, 2011, and I didn't do it all the time, like every week or every day. It was once in a while. So that's when I was living in Halifax, that is. And yeah.
The reason I'm saying this is because I'm trying to stay connected and relevant in this world that we live in of entertainment. And I've just taken to TikTok, and I'm now watching a lot of the young people express themselves. And I see that therapy seems to be helping a lot of them. And I think that could help you.
Right. Well, I'm actually on TikTok myself. I think I added you. I'm not sure, but yeah, I've been on TikTok maybe for a month and a half now.
Play around with it. I think it could be very helpful to you. Watch and see. And I like the fact that the therapy part of TikTok is good for people that are transitioning or people that are or gender fluid or all of that. I think it could be it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, but I think it's very good for young people.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good for people that are transitioning or dressing up or just want to be fabulous or people that are looking for other transgender people like themselves.
Right.
So with that being said, what do you want? What do you think? What do you want to happen for Rodney Beck? And what is your what name have you chosen?
For like a girl name or my drag name?
What's your girl name?
Well, I haven't decided 100% fully, but I kind of like the name Jade, Jade. I think it sounds feminine, it's different, and the meaning behind it means it's a precious gem. And I don't want a typical name like Donna or Mary. I wanted something different. And someone actually brought to my attention the other day, well, why not keep your name that you have now? How do they put it? Keeping the name, I probably would never do that, but I guess their basic premise behind it was, by you keeping your first name Rodney, that's really showing that you are a name does not make you a man or a woman, and by keeping Rodney, it doesn't change the fact that you're a trans person. It doesn't change the fact that you feel like a female. It doesn't change the fact of what your journey is or where it's heading. It's simply a name, but I would want to change it. I probably wouldn't want to keep, because Rodney is not really a unisex name.
Mm-hmm. Well, nobody calls me Larry. Nobody, not even my sister. Nobody calls me Larry. Everybody calls me Stephanie. It doesn't matter where I'm in the world or who I'm performing. Even if I'm just as me, nobody calls me Larry. Even as they see me, they call me Stephanie. So this is something people are going to have to get used to calling you. So you're going to have to figure out a way so in your mind, it becomes an automatic response for you to respond to people. You respond naturally now because we say Rodney, because you're used to that. But if you're going to become the woman that you want to be, and it's Jade, you need to start putting that out there. And I know you can't do that on Grindr or whatever those. I mean, you can do that on there, but maybe you won't get the kind of guys you're looking for because guys are very funny when it comes to specific genders and what they're looking for and all this stuff. But if you want to start feeling like the woman that you are, you're gonna have to start using Jade if that's what you've chosen.
You're right.
So you can start putting the two together because it can be a very difficult process sometimes trying to separate the two. When people call me Larry, it doesn't even faze me because it's more like it does nothing. But when they say Stephanie, that thing comes alive every time. So even when people are chatting, hey Stephanie, how are you? It's just like a normal way of me communicating. So this is what you're going to have to learn how to do. And the sooner you do that, the better. The sooner you make slow changes and stick with those changes, the better it is for you becoming the person that you want to be. So you have to take those steps. It's going to be very difficult because you're not going to remember half the times, and sometimes you're going to be lazy. I don't feel like doing this and I don't want to do that. But then you're going to have to understand the process of how to balance all those things. So you always stay the same consistently. So you understand that people relate to you as Jade.
Right.
So when I'm talking to you to the next time, I'll be like, you should probably have a last name because people like seeing your first name and your last name, because that's what we're used to in society. If it's your mother and father and your family, they always just say Rodney. Rodney did this, Rodney did that. But 9 times out of 10, your job or your friends will say, oh, you know that guy, Rodney Beck from the hospital. This is how. So everybody says Stephanie Stevens. Even when I'm talking to other girls, I pretty much say their whole name. I say, oh, how you doing, Miss Lady? Whatever the name is. The first and the last. So, Rodney, it was great talking to you. I really believe that you are doing the right things with seeing a doctor or a therapist. I do believe the fact that you're stable is a good thing, no matter what. Stay that way, so that way your transition will be easier. I also say reach out to other trans women. Watch some of the stories that I've done. Watch some of the conversations that I've done. Take to heart at what some of the girls have gone through or what they're going through, because the difficult times are coming.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not just the first steps you're taking. The really difficult times are coming. The more you transition, the harder it's going to become until you become the woman that you are really satisfied becoming.
Mhm.
Now, you're the fact that I know sometimes family can put a strain on these things, and the fact that you're in the same town with them can make it worse. So you have to understand those are going to be some challenges down the road, but I think that you can deal with it, because I like the fact that you said that your father was Catholic, but he still talks to you, come around you,
Mhm.
things like this. These things will become maybe a little bit strained when you start looking a lot different than what they're familiar with. So you're going to have some challenges there. So, but I think that you're on the right track. And
Yeah.
hopefully, what do you want for Rodney Beck in the next 10 years? What do you want to happen?
Oh, definitely in the next 10 years, most likely legally change my name. I definitely want the surgery and be on hormones, living my life as a female, being perceived as a female, and yeah, just continue having the supports in my life and doing what I need to do to make my life healthy and well.
Okay. Well, I take my hat or my wig off to the support system that you have, the Rainbow Group there in Picton.
Picton.
And I take my wig off to them for supporting you. That's an amazing thing. And I wish for you in the future to really just become the person that you want to be. And I say that to many people that are out there in the audience, watching the show. Just reach out to someone and talk to someone. Not everybody's going to love you, but keep knocking on doors until you get the results that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, there's always people out there just like yourself that can help you.
Right.
And now
Mm-hmm.
that we're all in this pandemic and we're talking to each other, it's a little bit easier to access information that you wouldn't normally be able to get. Um, so I want to just say, Rodney, it was amazing talking to you.
You as
And
well.
um, I'm glad that you have told your story, and hopefully it will help educate and inspire others in small towns. And hopefully one day we will be able to have our own network television, or I will have my own show where I can give us a real voice that we should have, just like any other talk show. So that way we can address issues that affect the LGBTQ two-spirit pronoun community in a wide spectrum,
Right.
and also give help to those in small towns or people that are just suffering behind closed doors to become the women or the person that they want to become or who they feel that they are. So with that being said, I want to say thank you so much. I'll say I won't refer to you as Rodney anymore. So the next time I talk to you, Jade, it will be you making steps to becoming the woman that you want to be. Um, so thank you.
You're welcome. And thank
And
you as well.
I want to say to the audience out there, Rodney Beck is brave for coming out, mainly in a small town where there's very little resources for trans people and for the LGBTQ two-spirit pronoun community. We face so many oppositions in life, and sometimes you just have to take the first step to become the person that you want to be. So I say to my family, my friends, and to all of our supporters out there, reach out, talk to someone, And if that door closes, just keep going, keep knocking until you get the desired results that you want. So this way you're not hurt, you're not suffering behind closed doors. Don't do that, my girls, my friends, and just people in general that feel like they need or they're just different. So reach out. And on that note, I'm going to say farewell to Picton, Nova Scotia?
Pictou.
Pictou. Okay, Pictou. Nova Scotia. And to Miss Jade Beck, I'm going to say have a great week. Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
You
and,
as well.
I love talking to you. We'll chat again.
Absolutely. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.